Hey guys, Desolate Gaming here with a rare correction. I made an incorrect assumption. When Huff and Puff We've Had Enough initially came out, I assumed that the line pays were non-existent because it's a Huff and Puff game. Then I was watching someone play it just for fun and I was like, that's a lot of line pays. So I started to do the math and I'm like, wait a minute. So after watching several thousand spins, it is 30% of the total return to player is the line pays, plus or minus 1%. Now that was collected from casinos that I know have pretty generous slots, and if I were to adjust the odds on a machine and I was a slot manufacturer, I would typically take it away from the line pays because that's where people are least likely to notice. So if they wanted to drop it 6% RTP, they could probably take 100% of it out of the line pays, so that could be lower, just keep that in mind. But that was the tip of the iceberg. I know I didn't watch enough spins to get a representative bonus interval, and there's no way I could find unbiased footage, so I got some from people I trust, and the rest I just couldn't use. So the bonus is like 1 in 150, somewhere in that neighborhood, and with the average pay, which wasn't very high, it was still about 10 to 14, maybe 15% of the payback. So I put it at 10 just to be generous. You can't really count on it, but if you were to play, 2-3 spins at a whole bunch of times over a year, you will eventually hit the bonus every 150 spins or so, so I had to count it as part of the average. So now this is where it gets wild. If you want to play along at home, guess when you start one of the columns, how often it succeeds. How many times does it go start to finish, whether it starts with 1 or 2, but not 3 because I didn't count that, does it succeed in turning into a full stack and pay you? If you've seen gameplay of it, you're probably guessing 1%. Well, my numbers say 7.79%, and I wish it was 777 because that would be funnier. Maybe it is, I don't know. I mean, to really get the gist of this, I'd probably have to watch 5 times more spins than I did. I only watched a couple thousand, let's put it that way. And hopefully you're sitting down for this one. I don't want to shock you too much, but the whole thing appears to be rigged. Oh, what? A rigged slot machine, you say? Look, well-designed slot machines tend to not rely on what I call a pool of results. It's a lazy, shortcut way to do it. They use true odds where they just generate a number, generate a combination, and whatever happens, happens, which makes it much more difficult but not impossible to adjust if you want to sell it with different return-to-player settings. So we'll circle back to that, but it's not just saying, oh, well, we've got a reel this tall, and some of them have 2 symbols and 1 symbol and 3 symbols, and then when they land, and just let the odds be the odds. It does not appear to work that way for my numbers. So the average gold will pay about 10.3 times your bet, so that's cool. Ranges from 7.5 to 15. I'm sure other things are possible, but the mini is actually below that. The mini return is like 5.55 or 5.66, depending weirdly on the denomination. So you actually wouldn't want to win that, and I don't even remember what the minor is. It was like double or something, so you don't usually get that. In fact, in all the spins I watched, I did not see a single minor coin show up. And then I didn't see a multiplier either, so I'm not sure those are a thing. All right, so the gold is just 10.3. Might be a little higher with the high coins, and I'm sure the major could show up on a coin at some point too. But it's so infrequent, it's a rounding error, basically. Then the average wood is like 3.85 because it's just 3 or 4. Those are the only 2 values it can be. Or the mini, which I think showed up a little more than I would have expected. But that brings it up to from 3.75 on the dot to like 3.8 something. You know, if you think about 3.8 bets, that's not very good. Well, if you're only ever going to play 2, it's pretty good. Because remember, the most spins you'd ever have to play is either 2 or, in rare cases, 3. So getting 3.5 bets back on 1 would, so you see where I'm going with this? And then you only need to get back about 60% of the bet because the rest is the line pays and the bonuses. And then I'll just assume the margin on the machine is about 10%. So you need to reach 110%. And you already have 40 of it just by playing the game. So, you don't need much. Oh, and then the average straw win is 0.71 is the one I had. It goes very rarely to 1.25. That almost never happened. And then the lowest is 1/2 of a bet, and the more typical is 0.75. Here's where it gets weird. If you get in the 4 spin cycle on the potential column of hard hats, 2 level 2 on spin 2. So you have at least 1 wood with at least 2 covered. So you only need 1 more hat. And that's one of the only things I measured because I wanted to make absolutely sure that it's only a state that you would walk up on. But the success chance with 2 spins remaining, so you get 2 shots at it, was a little over 3%. I think that my sample just had some bad luck in it because that seems illogical when I did, okay, what if the first time you get to a wood level with at least 2 covered, but the success rate with the exact same setup, but only 1 chance left, 1 spin left to get it, was about 6.7%. So you have half the number of spins to get 1 more hat, and the success rate is double, making it 4 times more lucrative overall. Which makes no sense, which is why I think it's rigged. Furthermore, I only had 12 golds in all the footage I watched, but the success rate was well into the 60+% range. Now, by definition, you can only have 1 spin left by the time a gold goes, because it's 4 spins. It's first straw, then you get 3 more, so then it goes to wood, then it goes to gold, and then you only have 1 more. So the success rate was over 50%, well over it. I'm not going to give out the exact numbers, but it would seem that the 2 away with 1 wood is just a teaser to keep you playing. And once you get a gold, it's already predetermined. So that would mean that when you start a column, they already know if it's going to complete or not. And that makes sense because the difference between the two is it can be explained by the ones that just naturally landed where they upgraded to wood and then got the 3rd one on the same spin. I didn't track those because nobody in their right mind would leave that on a machine. It's possible that it's just like, high 5s, low 6%, and I just didn't watch enough spins, and then it's overall 7 point something, and the wood is just less successful because there's less shots, I guess. But it's off by 400%. So what are the final results? Well, the average wood completion with at least 1, but sometimes 2, and I guess occasionally you could pick up a 3rd one. I don't know if I ever saw that. I think that actually literally cannot happen. But it was like 10, 11.5, 10.5, some in the neighborhood times your bet for the average wood completion that didn't go to gold. Oh, and then including upgrades to gold from the 2, and that bumped it up a little tiny bit. So the question is, what state is precisely playable? And that is a very complex answer. Before I give it, just FYI, you can support me on Patreon, comment section, description, links in both. This video took me over a month and it took me 29 hours. I am so sick of this machine, I never want to see it again, as is the norm with these, but I still believe in giving out this info for free. But if you want all of my How to Beat Casino guides, 1, they're here on the channel under a playlist called How to Beat Casinos, and then 2, on Patreon, you can just hit download all on the post that shows all the JPEGs. And then we got a PDF guide too, that clickable table of contents, searchable, it's all real nice. So you can just look up within seconds how to beat a machine. So I appreciate the support. It's the only thing keeping the channel running at this point because I'm not exactly gigantic. Feel free to send this channel to your friends and say, hey, you might be interested in this. But without further ado, the answer. So, obviously, if you see a golden play, play it. You're in for 1 bet. The RTP on that would be like 500% or something. It's outrageous. Now, unsurprisingly, the same can be said for any column that will complete. It is already completed, but you have at least 1 more spin left. Absolutely play it, okay? Even if and this happened twice that I saw, it is 3 straw and then doesn't upgrade. So you're in for 3 bets. It's going to cost you 3 times more to complete it than it would if it was only 1 away. So that is a factor. If you just go with the average win of 0.71 times 3, and then you add in the rest, you're already about even odds. I think you're just short of it, but then the number of times it upgrades, you average that in, and you get like a 3 to 4 times pay on top of it from wood, you're already good. That means even if it's $50 per spin, I would do it. $100 a spin, I would do it. $250, if I have it on me, I'd do it, because you're just safe. Like, if you already know it's active, I would play it, and then a gold, I would play it, even though it has a mischance of like 40% or whatever. Taking $50 to $100 a spin and turning it into 500% higher or higher when I know I'm in for exactly 1 bet, like, free money, just saying. Even if it failed to go off, I wouldn't regret it. So how low can you go? Well, from 2 away with you making 2 bets, assume my 3% and change was correct, you will get crushed if you play 1 single wood or even 2 woods with 2 spins left. 2 woods on the same column, by the way. The most you can win is 9.25, and the average is a little bit lower. So you take that, divide by 2, because you got to pay twice to do 2 spins, and you're so far in the negative, it's not even close. Now, let's say I was completely wrong, and the success chance is actually like 7% for wood. Okay, now you're under it by about a factor of 50%. So you're 50% of the way you would need it to be just to break dead even. So do not play 1 wood, do not play 2 wood if it's in the same column and 2 away. Now what about 1 away where for some reason the success rate was double? Well, first of all, if you've got just under a 7% chance of returning about 11 times your bet, and you only have to bet one time, and you only need to get 60% of the return, because the other, like I said, 30% is from the spin, 10% is from the bonus, which is actually 62.2%, in case I didn't mention that yet, because you have to add in about a 10% margin for the casino. And then since it's functionally impossible to make money at even odds, you'd probably want to add on 10% just for safety and for profitability and to be worth your time. Although this is a super short run machine, so you could just leave it at even, but factor out the 10% of the bonus because it only happens about 1 in every 150 spins. So pat it one way or pat it the other way, in either case I'd feel safe at about 70 flat. And then the line pays that you get like every couple spins, pad up the rest of it. Now, the end values are what I had trouble with. Because let's say it's wood plus straw plus empty with 1 spin left. So you only have to make 1 bet to get a result instead of 2, which that is a 100% swing. That is very significant. The completion chance, like I said, was almost 7%, whereas having 2 shots at it, it was a 3% roughly success chance. But you don't know what happened before you got to the machine. I didn't track for that. Also, I didn't get enough would win results to get an accurate measurement on the average win. Because sometimes it would upgrade to gold, sometimes it would double upgrade to gold, sometimes there were 2 woods, sometimes there weren't. So I extrapolated, recreated, and I think there's enough math in this video already. The playable states are up on screen. The average wood completion was around 11.5, which means that it landed 2 hats to upgrade and start it quite often. And that's the total column pay. So that indicates that the upgrade to gold percentage chance is very, very high compared to, oh, we just stuck in a straw and then completed it that way. When a column completes, it almost always completes with 2 or more hats. I've noticed that. So unless that was some kind of weird coincidence in the data, that pushes the pays a little bit higher, but with 2 woods plus 1 empty with 1 spin remaining, it still came in between 98 and 99% return to player total. And even if it was 102, the margin of error on these, just with how they're combined and stuff, is easily 3%. And remember, that all takes into account the bonus, which almost never happens. So if the bonus doesn't happen on that 1 spin, then you lose 10%. And you're already losing if the column doesn't complete, which happens more than 90% of the time. So I don't like that, but then again, that's almost exactly the way that Golden Buddha works. You win about 1 in 10 spins, so just assume, oh, look at this cool setup with like 4 or 5 multipliers. Ooh, I'm going to play it 1 time. Well, 9 times out of 10, literally, you are not going to win. So this is the same way. You walk up, you go boop, boop, you lose, and you move on, but 1 in 10, about a little bit less than that, you will win. And when you win, it'll be about 10 bets on average if you were to take the number between them. I think it was a little bit higher than that. But remember, if it has 2 woods with 1 empty, with 1 spin remaining, and then even 2 woods with 2 spins remaining, that's still negative. So don't just say any 3 woods play it. That is inaccurate. Now, if there's 3 columns live that all have woods in them, and then like 2 are 2 and 1 is 1, it brings it up. I didn't even do the math, but I think just in my head, yeah, I think that's positive. So that's why I basically settled on, hey, the state that I show on the right side of this guide, or better. Now, I kept getting some real funny numbers when I tried to calculate what the contribution of any other started column is. Because, you know, what if you had a really close one? Oh, but there's another column active. I didn't granularize it to like, well, what if there's 3 left? And what about this? What about this? What about this? So the different approaches I made just made it inaccurate, so I would just write them off completely. The average start to finish, like I said, is 7.79%. So if it's only going to complete 7% of the time, but it's not qualified as one of these conditions, then that combination means it's pretty much worthless. It's probably full of straw, and it's probably not going to finish. So that concludes this math-infested nightmare that I'm sure nobody watched till the end. But I wanted to really outline my work on this one and show some of the approximate numbers because there are some alternative strategies proposed on the internet that I've seen, and they're flawed or guesswork, or somewhere in between. My numbers are perfect, and I wanted to prove it. Because I'm sick of those people coming to my comment section saying, well, some guy in a forum or my friend or this person from this group told me it's this. Okay, did they prove it? Did they break it down? Did they show the math? So once again, if you enjoy this wonderful slog through hell, don't forget to go on my Patreon for much simpler guides. I mean, they're all here on this channel too. You can just screenshot them on YouTube if you're on your phone. I don't care. But, for just a couple dollars, you can just go hit download all on Patreon and just put them on your phone. And then we got a PDF guide showing all the games, searchable, clickable, table of contents. It's real nice. I appreciate you guys supporting the channel. I appreciate you sticking out to the end of this one if you did. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.